too. Daniel said, sorry for all the questions. After cooking barbecue, do you hold in a warmer and shred chop per order? No. So
kind of.
Well, we pull all our pork probably about 2 hours before lunch service, or at least part of it. We'll hold a couple butts whole for dinner, just in case we need it. And then, we'll slice brisket right before open. Brisket and ribs will get sliced right before open. We wait as long as possible. But everything holds fine. Everything, you're going to lose a little bit of color, but nothing, it's not going to turn gray or anything. And then he says he's paying $5.70 a pound for prime brisket. I don't know if you got a Costco by you or if that is the Costco price, but I'm $4.40 a pound.
I'm $4.20 or $4.30.
Yeah, that general vicinity.
Like $4.18, $4.20. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do something a little bit different now. I am not pulling. The only thing I'm doing ahead of time is I'm slicing brisket, like right when I get on site, typically. I am. Hold on. Okay, our guest is downloading the app right now, by the way.
Okay. Daniel, our Costco has it off and on, but the Costco, the choice briskets they get are pretty damn close to prime briskets you're going to get other places. Just keep that in mind.
Check Sam's too.
They're at the high end of the grading scale for those.
So I am taking a butt out of the warmer for service, dumping it into my steam pan that I have a liner into, and then just shredding it inside that. I keep it whole. I try to keep everything as whole as possible. Same thing for ribs. I'll keep them whole and then slice to order.
And for me, it's just time. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with dirty cutting boards out or dirty surfaces. So we do it all ahead of time.
No labor cost equals disposable cutting boards.
Bernie says, does your business insurance have the lost wages as part of it? Mine does. And when we had a minor smoker fire where we had to shut down for a day, I did not ask about it. I should have. But
yeah, I don't even know. I got to check.
Yeah, it's good to have. I'm not sure how they pay that out. If you have to prove some sort of, because I mean, we're not on payroll, so it's, I don't know.
Bank statements, maybe.
Lost sales.
Bank statements is how they used to do it for mortgages. Yeah. If you had a bank statement and a pulse, you got a mortgage back in the day.
I'm probably getting close to that again. So here comes the crash. Looking forward to it. It's coming. Crash is coming. It's coming.
They actually raised rates for the first time since May.
Crash is coming. Can't wait. I might be able to actually afford a building sometime soon.
I mean, it's possible.
I got my eye.
Your eyes open?
I got my eye on something.
Well, no. Just gotta use the same thing I do. No agreements have been signed.
This would not be an agreement with another business.
Oh.
This would be on our own.
Oh, it would not be a lease, is what you're saying?
It would be a lease of the building, but not shared with another business.
Correct. Cheers to that.
I question for Pam, I guess, if Pam is available to answer said question, or she's willing to, because I'm sure Denny's right next to you, Pam. At what point do we go from LLC to an S corp? Because I know there's tax advantages for S corp.
I'm surprised
tax at a lower rate.
I'm surprised you're not already an S corp.
Yeah, I need to be. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that at that point will be the point where they stop looking at personal credit and just look at business credit. Because right now, anytime I apply for a loan, they're digging into my personal credit for it and using that number instead of the business's number, which the business credit's phenomenal.
Well, at least it should be. I mean,
it is. It's perfect.
How do you know?
You can pull it.
Huh.
There's services that'll tell you your business credit score. The only knock on our business credit score is the line of business that it is.
Yeah.
That it shows it as a medium risk business.
Well, it is. It's a restaurant.
Yeah. So, but after that, I mean, we have a lot of stuff in the business's name for payments and stuff, and everything's been perfect. So, yeah, I don't know if switching to S corp fixes that problem, because I don't want anything running off my business, my personal credit, you know?
No.
So, that's kind of the whole idea, is you get that separation. And it's not like, 7-Eleven is running the CEO's credit for expansion purposes.
I did get a 5-star Google review.
Oh, good, buddy.
I like reviews.
I know you do. You're a big fan.
So one thing my lovely spouse doesn't understand is each person kind of has their own way of, like, I'm not going to say learning, maybe, but like, as a salesperson, I always want to see my name in lights. Like, that's my goal as a sales guy. I don't want to be that guy who just goes balls to the wall but doesn't get any recognition for it. I love recognition. I will always love recognition. A lot of people don't understand why that's important, but it's definitely important to me.
I understand why it's important to some people. It's not why I do it, but Kurt is in the lobby waiting.
Oh,
so if you want to wrap up your thought real quick, go ahead.
No, that was my thought. For some people it doesn't matter. For a lot of other people it does, and you have to learn how to communicate with those people.
Jason, to answer your question about my labor percentage, for the year right now we're at 15.84. So
not bad.
I will take that. Not bad at all.
Not bad.
Wait, or is that July? Oh, that's for July. Let me pull the whole year. Hold on.
Jesus.
Sorry, I don't pull. This is not a report I usually pull. For the year, we're at 14.66.
Even better.
Yep. Even better. So yeah, we're doing pretty good. I'm pretty proud of myself.
Oh boy.
All right. Everybody, we will bring in Kurt
Mueller.
Kurt Mueller.
What's going on, Kurt? Long time no see.
Yeah, I know, man.
I still don't see him.
It's been a minute.
Thanks for coming on.
Hi there.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So Kurt, Josh, Kurt.
Good morning.
Hey, Josh.
How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Oh, enjoying 4 days off.
Nice. Let me get my headset on.
All right.
So we can be 3 for 3 for the headset.
Yeah, I have the trucker headset. It's a better mic. So Kurt, I told everybody in the beginning, you and I met at the Famous Dave's barbecue contest here in Michigan. They had you drive all the way up here, lug your kids around to be the quote unquote celebrity pitmaster.
Yeah.
So you told me a little bit about your backstory, but for anybody listening, we have tens of guests or listeners, I should say. So give us a little bit backstory about you and how you got into the barbecue business, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so originally from St. Louis, Missouri, and started barbecuing with my dad when I was like 9. So 30 plus years. Always loved cooking outside, loved just cooking over fire, over coals, whatever. And that kind of blossomed into the competition side of things 3 years ago. Me, my brother, and a buddy of mine decided to get into the competition world, found out we loved it. They have since moved on to do other things, and I realized I loved it so much that I wanted to make it a full-time gig. So September 29th last year was my last day in financial planning, and have been doing this full-time ever since. So I was fortunate enough to get invited as the quote-unquote celebrity pitmaster to come up there to basically Detroit and compete and finish, dead last. So that's always good. And so anyway, that's kind of the brief history. But yeah, I loved it so much that I wanted to do it full time, and it's been a fun journey. It's been a tough journey, but anytime you're growing a business, it's going to be tough.
FYI, brown gravy on lamb chops might not have been your best decision.
Probably I mean, there was a lot of poor decisions that day. That was probably
Hey, at the end
up
of the day, we
there.
all had fun. I mean, it was
We
fun
did.
though.
We
You
did
got to
have
hang
fun.
out. I got to meet your
Sure.
boys. It was awesome to meet them and see the passion that you have, that you're getting them to be into it. I mean, you do everything with your boys.
Pretty much. I mean, they love it. I mean, I do compensate them, appropriately.
A roof
For
over
what?
their head,
Yeah,
clothes on their
exactly.
back. Yeah.
Room
Yeah,
and board.
exactly.
Yeah.
But no, they love helping, and then it teaches them a lot of great life skills as well, and it's a fun thing to do together because at some point they're not going to want to hang out with their old man at all. So
Mhm.
there's that.
Absolutely, for sure.
Most of my competition experiments I would describe as an avalanche of errors, so I understand that completely. But go ahead, Skippy. I don't want to step on your toes.
No, not at all.
No.
So you are, your videos are awesome. You go live a lot.
Yep.
I didn't really kind of understand it until I saw a video the other day that you were set up, I believe, in front of like an insurance agent or a
Well, close. CPA. So
CPA. Okay.
just as exciting as an insurance agent. Um,
But you're setting up roadside, like underneath a tent. You have a
Yep.
cargo trailer, right?
yep.
How's that been going? I mean, you mentioned what's been your struggles?
Yeah. Well, number one, I mean that the biggest struggle, and had some coffee with a fellow barbecue brother this morning, and he asked me that question. He said, well, "What are your, what's one of the biggest struggles that you're going to face?" I said, "Well, number one, you have to accept the fact that you're going to be underpaid for a very long time if you get paid at all, and
Mhm.
you got to be comfortable with that." So, you know, fortunately, my past life, I was 100% commission. It was eat what you kill kind of thing. So I'm used to
Mhm.
that. But I think for anybody getting into the business, starting the business, that's something they have to accept, especially if they're coming from a world of a paycheck every 2 weeks. I mean, they just
Yeah.
have so I think that's a big struggle. The second thing is, you might set up at a location and literally, I mean, one time I did $25. Like,
We've all been there.
yeah, I mean,
Makes you feel sick, doesn't it? Like,
it does. It's not a great feeling. Like,
Yeah.
Definitely not a great feeling.
but I think
it was a good run. That was the last day.
pretty much, and I
No
think
one wants my food anymore.
it comes down to consistency. I think
Mm.
a lot of folks that get into the food truck business, any food truck, any cuisine, they don't really understand that you have to be consistent with it. You could go to the same location 10 times and your revenue could be all over the board. You just have to. It's that consistency. And so I feel like it's trending in the right direction at that particular location because I did a lot of amateur Google research on, is it better to bounce around? Is it better to set up in one location?
Mm-hmm.
And just from what I've understood and what I read, it seemed like it was a better idea to just have that consistent location and then mix in various location, but always have that kind of home base of operation.
Yeah.
So that's the path I chose.
And that's what Josh does is he has it. No, you have your standard locations that you always go to, and then you have mix and match ones where I might be at one location once a week, but I go all over the place. So are you finding it tough to find locations that either have the foot traffic or the regular traffic that will stop and just buy something? Like, you being underneath a tent, do you think there's a difference between being under a tent or having a food truck?
So yes and no. I mean, I think as far as like finding the foot traffic, that that just comes down to preparation, and it comes down to just doing your due diligence. Like a lot of that stuff, especially if it's a major thoroughfare, you can get that data in terms of like number of cars that come through there. I mean, yeah, you got to dig for it, but you can find it. But you can also just use your own eyes. Just go out to that location. I think having qualifying questions, when you get invited out to a neighborhood, invited out to an apartment complex, understanding the questions to ask, what other food trucks have been there? Like, I always reach out to those food trucks, like, hey, how was it?
Absolutely.
Don't give me your numbers, but like, what was it profitable? Was it worth your time,
Yeah.
or was it not worth your time? How many residents live there? What's the average home price in the neighborhood? How much is the rent? If it's an apartment complex, okay, what's the lowest amount of rent? So that can help identify, okay, yeah, this is because barbecue inherently, at least ours, we're not the cheapest in town. We're not the $8 cheeseburger and fry.
Mhm.
Like that's not us. So I got to be very cognizant of that. So I don't think there's necessarily an issue like finding the locations or the foot traffic. I think if you make great food, no matter what it is, people are going to come find you. They're gonna
Yep.
they're gonna make the time to come find you. It's that simple. Now you have to build on that, right? You have to get
Mm.
enough reviews and enough credibility there. But yeah, I think I'm always amazed when I hear from other people, not just barbecue guys, like anybody in the mobile food truck industry, that they have a tough time finding a location. And my immediate thought is, well, you're just not looking hard enough. Like you're not
Mm.
You're not trying.
There's plenty of opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And they may not all be great. And I mean, we still go to places that we don't think are going to be the best locations, but it's an area we're trying to get into, and we're trying to build, some customer base in the area for the future. So the rest of our locations are solid enough that we're like, okay, we can have a lighter day here. It's okay. It'll be all right. And we kind of pair it with a different. So we'd typically go somewhere different for lunch and dinner every day.
Right.
So we'll pair it with a stronger lunch location and go to like an apartment complex that we're not sure about for dinner, and hope that we can start building a base in a new kind of area. So
yeah.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. You talked about new areas, and I would say that the number of new customers that you get every day is a great metric to measure. It's something I look at. Yes, we all want to have those returning customers. Those are amazing.
Mhm.
I also look at, okay, well, how many new customers am I seeing? Because those new customers are likely to tell 5, 6 people. It's just kind of it builds that way, and so that's another metric that I use. On certain days where sales aren't where they need to be, I look at, okay, well, what was positive about today? Okay, well, we had 10 new customers that have never had our barbecue. So statistically, I know 1 to 2 of them are going to tell more people, right?
Yeah.
So that's something to hang your hat on, because you can beat yourself up on those days when it's like, oh yeah, we did $27 in sales, fantastic. Like we didn't even cover our gas. Like this is great. So you can, that can beat you down. It can mentally wear you down, especially early on in the business when you're not used to that. You just get beat down to a pulp, and you're like, screw this. This is not good. But I guess my point is, if you have something to look at, like a metric, like new customers, something positive, it helps you mentally.
It seems like you choose to look at the positive side of everything.
I try to, man. I mean, it's difficult.
And that's fine. It happens, but
Skippy's not built that way.
Listen, I have a half a broken leg right now, so there's not a lot of positive I have, but
it's not a fully broken leg. Yeah.
It's not a fully broken leg. That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, it's not fully broken.
You still got your deliveries done on Friday.
Still got my deliveries done.
See?
Well, there's
lots of positives.
You can still drive.
That's right.
No, I can't. That's the thing. Is I can't
you can't drive.
No,
oh,
it's
that's even worse.
My right leg. So financial services. It's not from the way you're explaining things. It sounds like you take a analytic approach to your business. It's all about numbers for you. It's all about how you convert those numbers into either sales or what's the word I'm looking for? Opportunities. Did you take stuff from your past life and apply it towards what you're doing now?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, that was super helpful, just understanding, being a business owner, being an entrepreneur prior to doing this, you had to understand your numbers. Even if I wasn't in the financial planning world, I'd still have to understand the numbers, the profit and loss, the net margin, et cetera. But being in that world, I mean, those are the people that I helped. I worked with primarily business owners in that world. And so it taught me a lot of great things. It taught me what to do. It taught me what not to do. I still make mistakes. We all make them. The mistakes aren't as damaging as they used to be, early on. But yeah, it's been helpful to understand that, because again, I go back to the mental game. A lot of people that get into any business for themselves, whether it's food, whether it's whatever it may be, they don't understand that, look, you're going to get rejected. You're going to have really crappy days, and there's really no one there. No one's coming to save you. Like, not happening. I mean, you can
We've talked about that same exact thing numerous times. Like the first podcast we talked about, you will sit on your trailer floor and probably shed a tear and think whether this is what you're going to do for the rest of your time on Earth or not. But yeah, what you're saying is 100% accurate.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't have something mentally positive to hang on to, it's easy to just get beat down and get caught up in all the negativity. And okay, I made $25, I got all this food wasted, blah blah blah. Am I doing the right thing? You've got other people chirping in your ear, whether it's family and friends. Hey, are you sure you want to do this? So yeah, it can be extremely draining, extremely challenging sometimes to pick yourself up. But I think understanding your numbers and having something to look at. Now, I'm not saying being overly optimistic. Like at the end of the day, if you have a week of $25 days, okay, yeah, you got to reassess. You got to take a hard look in the mirror. But I guess, you got to have something positive to hang on to, because there are going to be those really, really bad, mentally challenging days when you don't feel like doing it. You don't want to do it. And you know what? The hardest thing is sometimes is you have the option not to do it.
Yeah.
You it's not like you have to report to a boss or punch a clock. You could not do it.
Yeah.
But then of course you face the reality of, it's kind of like choose your hard, not doing it is going to be hard in the long run. Doing it is going to be hard in the short term. So which pain are you going to select?
Exactly.
Yeah. It never ceases to amaze me. And Skippy, we saw this in the competitive barbecue world for a long time. The number of people that came from analytical backgrounds. So a lot of finance guys doing competitive barbecue, a lot of IT guys doing that kind of thing. And I think it lends itself well to barbecue because it's such a precision type of thing, with charts and graphs and, need to cook this at this time. And what happens if we just change this little thing and keeping track of all that? And then it really translates well to, the food truck world, where you're keeping track of every little thing and having all those metrics to seek out the positives, like minute growths or minute changes in temperature that you can attribute to a difference in sales. Even like we've kept track of every possible metric we could think of from time to time, just to try to find correlations so we can plan better. Because we don't sell it, we throw it away, which sucks, So if we can look at the weather, the forecast ahead, and kind of plan better, because we know that our peak temperature range for us in Michigan is 75 to 82.
Right.
We're gonna have peak sales during that temperature range.
And you really want a light breeze too.
Yeah, a nice light breeze, maybe some cloud cover. But yeah, so you start to you dig deep into that stuff, and I think the analytical minds really lend itself well to it. It allows us to be better prepared for that. I don't think anything prepares you for not having a paycheck. Out of my ragtag group of 4, including myself, I'm the 3rd highest paid employee. So,
right. Yeah.
But I get time off the truck. I'm still doing 70 plus hours a week, but I'm not in service all the time. So I'll take that trade off to allow me some balance. But, I continually tell my staff that they make more money than I do.
Sure.
And they don't believe you whatsoever either.
Yeah. I'm fully prepared to share W-2s with them.
Right. That's important. That's important too. But what you said about competition barbecue is dead on the money. There's a lot of folks that come from those analytical backgrounds that love it. I would say, though, what I've seen is these competition teams, by and large, are not very good self-promoters. Their social media is lackluster at best. And another thing I've seen is they're not really good with people. They can
they're
win.
Quiet,
They can win a competition. They can
liquid courage in them to get them to start talking to you.
Yeah, and they can put 6 great pieces of meat in a box on a bed of kale and win the grand champion. That's all well and good. That's fantastic. Tons of trophies. The problem is that it doesn't necessarily translate over to the business side of a food truck operation. Because if you can't scale that to be able to feed 150 people consistently and deal with all the things that we deal with when we deal with people,
Mhm.
right? you deal,
Yep.
you got there's some weird, crazy folks out there, right? And you have to grin and bear it. Like you can't,
Yep.
you have to maintain that emotional kind of even keel, right? And
Yeah.
not get too. And that's one thing I've seen with like the competition guys that I talk to who are like, hey, I want to make this a business. My friends and family tell me I have really good food. Awesome.
Hmm.
Happy for you. When people start paying for your food is when you're going to get real feedback.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Because
Yep.
when you're giving it away, it's always good.
Yeah,
It's
it's the
always
best food.
good.
It's the best food they ever had. Yeah,
When
Yep.
it's free, it's always good.
it's always
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
All right. So when I met you, you were just getting. I mean, you had your brand, but you were really focusing on social media, and I believe you were focusing on your own. Was it rub line?
Yes.
So I see that you've gotten that started. How's that been going for you?
Good, not great. I admittedly have not been pushing that into more retail locations locally. And that's
Give it a
just,
give it a plug right now.
Yeah.
What do we got?
Where can we
yeah.
get it from?
So you can get it from our website, ironheadbbq.com. And we've got 3 different rubs at the moment. And it's the 3 main proteins that we cook. So we've got brisket, which is also great on steak. I use it on our ribeyes. We've got pork rub, which of course we put on our butts, our baby back ribs, pork loin, etc. And then we've got beef rub, which is what we use on our tri-tip beef ribs. Sometimes I'll put it on brisket, and I also use it in our baked beans. So those are the 3. Those are the 3 main proteins we're cooking. That's why I came out with those 3 first. And we get really positive feedback on them. For the most part, I don't really have anybody that said they didn't like them. And it's just something I came up with. I mean, I stole a little bit from here, stole a little bit from there. I mean,
Yep.
let's face it. At the end of the day, nobody's reinventing the wheel anymore. It's
No.
No.
it's salt and sugar. Like it's
Yeah.
not. You're not gonna. I mean, you're gonna have to take from other things and make it your own.
Yep.
Absolutely, for sure.
I want to rewind a little bit. You said you're using baby back ribs.
Yes, I
Is
prefer
that
those over spare ribs.
okay? Is that regional? Are baby backs more popular down there?
Not
Do you think,
necessarily.
or
Most people.
you just prefer them?
Well, I prefer them because I think, again, going back to being analytical, in general, you're paying 50 cents more a pound for baby backs. But what I found
Mhm.
is, 1, they're much easier to prep. 2, you have way more meat on that baby back than you do on a spare rib. Because if I get spare ribs, I'm cutting them down St. Louis cut. I don't like that.
Right.
I don't know what the technical word is, but
Rib tips.
I personally, I don't like rib tips, so I don't cook them.
Yep.
But anyway, so I felt like at the end of the day, I'm getting more meat per dollar spent than I am with spare ribs. And like I said, to me, they're easier to cook, they're easier to prep. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a regional thing because I kind of judge the regional thing on what's in the grocery stores, and there's
Mhm.
both. Like pretty much every grocery store where I live, you're going to find baby backs and spare ribs.
Okay.
Now, most people don't have a clue. I mean, I get people asking me like, well, are baby back ribs, is that beef or pork? And I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
still
like,
get.
yeah, like, so
Yeah.
they don't
I put
know.
ribs on the menu. They're like, "Are they beef or pork?" I'm like, I haven't found anyone that serves, other than places in Texas that serve beef ribs
Right.
or halal and Dearborn. But um, yeah. Speaking of the ribs, you've been running Dino Bones for a little while now. How those been going?
A little scary at first because, yeah, I mean, you're paying double, in some cases, almost triple the times what you're paying for
Mm.
brisket.
Yeah.
But we're the only game in town. And, when I looked at it, I said, nobody's serving beef ribs, nobody's serving tri-tip. And I said, we really have the opportunity here to set the market, and so
Yeah.
For sure.
why undercut ourselves? And with with beef ribs especially, it's interesting because when I first started, it was like, I think we were charging like $22 a plate. You get a beef rib, you get 2 sides, and you get a roll. Now we're $35 a plate for beef ribs.
Mhm.
And certainly our cost has gone up marginally a little bit, but
Yeah.
what I found is we're selling more beef ribs. So we basically increased our price by 50%. But people know they're really good. We're the
Yeah.
only place they can get them. And let's face it, there's a reason that these larger commercial places are not doing beef ribs. They don't want to incur the cost. That's what I
Yeah.
hear all the time. Because I ask
It's a
them, I'm like,
cost
why
thing.
don't you cost? I'm like, y'all do realize that you can pass the cost. There's this thing called passing the cost along to the customer, right? You know
Mm-hmm.
that
Yep.
concept. Oh well, I'm like, fine, don't put them on the menu. I'll keep on our menu, and we'll sell them. Same with tri-tip. That's definitely I'll go out on a limb here and say we're probably the only ones in the southeast that sell tri-tip consistently.
Yeah. It's not huge. It's not huge
No,
on this side of the world.
No, it's a West Coast thing. So to answer your question, Donna ribs have been going great. I mean, are we selling
Good.
a case a day? No, we're not. We probably average 3 to 4 plates a day. So enough
Still.
to keep it
Keep it
consistent
on there.
our menu. Yeah, absolutely.
What has been your top seller? Like what are people coming back for?
Brisket. Brisket, hands down. I would say, just off the top of my head, brisket's probably 40%, 35 to 40% of our total sales is brisket. Whether it's the plate or the sandwiches or the tacos, I think it has to do with a couple things. I think number one, most people know, even if they're not even like educated about barbecue, they know what brisket is. They a lot of people in this area have no idea what tri-tip is, which is understandable. And they really don't know what a beef dino rib is. They don't understand. But most people understand what brisket is, and so they know they can't get it around here. I don't know what it's like up in your area, but like around here, in South Carolina, Georgia, it's heavy pork, heavy chicken. Most places are pork and chicken. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got your chicken quarters, you got your spare ribs, your baby backs, pulled pork, of course, and then you've got your pork loin. That's it. So brisket is very hard to come by. At least great brisket's hard to come by.
Yeah.
A lot of places they're cook. They got 15-year-olds running the pits because they don't want to pay somebody. They want to pay somebody $12 an hour to run the pit, and the 15-year-old, they're like, okay, the boss said take the brisket off. They don't know if the brisket's done or not. They're like, well, the boss said take it off. You know, so it's not their fault.
Take it off. Take it off.
Take it off. Yeah. So
let it cook for 12 hours. Take it off.
Take it off, and they don't. There's no probing it. There's all right. Take it off, slice it up, and then boom. So a lot of times around here, brisket is way undercooked. And so, when you know how to cook brisket, people are like, oh my God, this is fantastic. And, we only cook, the lowest I'll cook is prime. I won't cook anything lower than that. Lately, I found myself getting Wagyu because there's a fire sale on it. So I'm like, hey, let's load up. I buy it wholesale from a distributor. Let's load me up on it. And, you have to be blind to screw up a Wagyu brisket. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much fat in there that
what are you paying per pound for that?
$4 a pound.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, A5 Wagyu.
Oh. What?
Now that's on sale. That's when it goes on a fire sale and they got to move inventory. Now I don't know.
I'm waiting for comments.
I was gonna say, do they deliver? Like shit.
Yeah. No, they don't deliver. I got to go pick it up, but the warehouse is only 12 minutes from me. So,
Skippy, I don't know. You and I could pick up truck down to Georgia. We can get there and back in a day.
Yeah, get you.
Son of a.
Yeah.
Wow. We were just talking before you jumped in about what we've been paying, and it's anywhere from, for choice right now, it's $3.98 for, prime. It's $4.20 to $4.40. Like,
are you guys buying Sam's, Costco? Where are you buying?
Sam's, Costco.
Yeah, Costco for me.
I mean, even Restaurant Depot's $4.20 for choice.
Well, and I don't even know if it's possible, but one of the best things I did was I found a local beef. All they do is beef, and they sell wholesale. I found them, and that's one of the best things I ever did because.
Is it like a local farm or just a distributor?
Well, they are an exclusive distributor for several local farms in Georgia, and they're doing anywhere. But I mean, they're in the grand scheme of things, like on a national scale, they're small, but locally they're huge. I mean, they're doing 1,000 to 1,200 head a day.
Oh wow! Okay.
So it's but compared to like IBP, Tyson, National Beef, I mean, those guys are doing 1,000 head an hour probably.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. But the point is, it's number one, you get a great product because all they do is beef. But two, you get
built
payment
that relationship.
Well, yeah, and you get payment terms with them, right? So you're not having to front that You get, they invoice you, and now you can go prep it, sell it, and then pay them. So to me, that helps with cash flow.
I
But yeah,
understand.
the relationships are huge too. Absolutely.
Now, how long have you been in South Carolina for now?
So let's see. I've lived here well, went to college in Charleston, 01, 05, and then moved back in 2011. So I've been here ever since 2011. So
okay,
yeah, 13 years.
So have you used like your contacts from your financial services world to try to help you with this business?
Not really, no. I mean, it's kind of happened by default, but I didn't really target them. This is interesting, right? The people that you think are going to help you when you start a new business are the ones that don't, and the ones that you're like, oh, you never even gave them any thought, like they're not going to help you, are the ones that like are
Promote
pushing,
you and
yeah,
absolutely.
promote you, and it's like, so I really never even relied on those connections. I mean, now by default, it helped that I knew a lot of people to build out like the social media presence. That helps, right? But knowing a lot of people, that's one thing I'll say is knowing a lot of people and having all these likes and followers doesn't really mean anything. Like a lot of people think, well, if I get likes and followers, like that's going to lead to more business. It can. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm not saying it doesn't help, but like don't get lulled into this false sense of security that, oh, I'm building my social media presence. Like this is okay, but they actually have to buy from you because likes and followers doesn't pay the bills. So you got to convert them over. So anyway, to answer your question, no, I haven't really relied on those. Some of them I've just come by default, but hadn't really targeted them. I would say it's our consistent posting on social media, and also in those local food truck groups, posting there, because people are going there to find food trucks, so they end up contacting me about various things, and then eventually that builds to the point where, and you probably experienced this, you've been doing this a lot longer than I have. Now you can start telling people no. Like, well, in the beginning, you're like, yeah, I'll take everything. Like, whatever I can do.
I probably wouldn't have a half broken leg if I would have told the lady no.
There you go. Well, now you know.
What so your catering side, I know we're running close on time, but your catering side has picked up? Is it doing well? Is it kind of are you making more contacts with your catering?
Without question, and I think the food truck side drives that, right? I mean, let's face it, like for the small catering jobs, somebody has a party, it's $500 job, delivery only, whatever. Okay, not a big deal. They may or may not have tried your food, but maybe they know somebody that has. But when we're talking those larger catering jobs, $3, $4, $5, $10,000 jobs, like nobody's paying that kind of money unless they have tried your food and unless they have talked to people who have tried your food. And so I think that's where that food truck operation helps drive that, because it allows people to invest a little bit of money, time with you, try your food and say, okay, this is great. I've got a wedding coming up. I've got a birthday party, whatever. Yeah, this is really good. It also, the other thing that it does, I think, is indirectly, because you're getting those reviews, like your Google and your Facebook reviews, that is going to also help the catering side as well. And I'm somebody that I'm always asking for feedback. I literally so everybody that bought food for me on 4th of July, because we did pick up only whole cuts of meat. That's it. I didn't run the food truck. I just did. Yeah. I've started reaching out to each one of them to say, how are things? Do you have any constructive feedback? What did you like? What didn't you like? And they appreciate that. And if they say, hey, everything was great, it was awesome, I say, hey, would you mind leaving us a Google review? Here's our link. And 9 times out of 10, they're like, absolutely. So,
I lost you.
We lost your audio.
Oh, there you are. Yep, you're good. Yep. Guaranteed money always works out the best.
Yep.
Well, all right. Before we let you go, give our people who are listening where they can find you, your socials and your website. Well,
Well,
Kurt, I appreciate you being on with us. You have a podcast too, don't you? I got you. Okay. There's some good episodes on there. You might find somebody that you might know on there.
yeah.
Way back in the day. Well,
Awesome.
we appreciate it, bud. Thanks for being on it. Good luck in the future. Just keep doing what you're doing and kick ass. All
Thanks,
right.
Kurt. Have a good day.
See you, Kurt.
Bye. Maybe. He's frozen, but I still see him.
I did too. I don't know if he's laughing at us or not. I think that was a good perspective. I mean, somebody who's new, but somebody who basically quit his financial services job to be a barbecuer. I mean, it took over his life, and that's what he chose to do. I think it's really cool. Shoot, like manually kick him out?
No, I think I went in to try to do that, but I
Oh.
think it finally just went.
All right.
Yeah.
Good guy though. I wish him the best.
Good job. Good conversation. Good guess, Skippy.
We have some comments about $4 a pound Wagyu brisket.
Not really. I'm surprised there wasn't, but
JT must not be on.
Steve Rodriguez had a couple questions. One about social media and those awful, your account's going to be deactivated messages. Want to know what to do about those. Never, ever click on a link in those messages, please.
Those are all fake.
It's all fake. It's all, you will know if Facebook has a problem with you. Trust me. You can always contact support directly. There is a support.
Yeah, they will never IM you. They will never DM you. They will never.
Yep.
You'll
know.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you get flagged for anything, you'll know for sure. But yeah, you can always contact support directly too and ask them if there's a problem with your account, and they will get back to you. And then Steve also said Darren this morning said without catering, it would be hard to grow. Absolutely. Yeah. Sure. Without the catering money coming in. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be hard to foresee a future where we're considering 2 trucks or, a brick and mortar walk up type of thing. So, yeah, catering is kind of the foundation of our sales. And then the roadside's the cherries on top, hopefully you can get some good ones. We're trying to weasel our way into a festival that's begging for trucks right now in 2 weeks that we're willing to reorganize the schedule a little bit. But, so yeah, hopefully that works. And it's in our southern territory, which we're starting to get some more stuff down there and requests down there. So, hopefully that all works out. And we can get
by the way, Kurt cooks on the Deep South.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, we didn't even talk to him.
Oh, damn it. I wonder how many shoots he's gone through.
I know he cooks on a small one too.
Yeah? Good Lord.
28.
He's cooking all that freaking food on a small one?
I think it's 20. I think 28. Yeah,
you can only fit like 3 dino ribs on there.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, good show.
Yeah, good show.
All right, bye.
About time you come up with a guest. Just saying. Just saying. All guests have been mine, except for the one food truck dude, food truck expo fella.
All guests have been yours.
Who else did you bring on?
Oh my God. I have to do all the rest of the work for this thing. Is it that much to ask that you do a little bit of work?
Absolutely. I don't mind bringing on guests.
Okay.
I'll bring on guests all the time.
Then stop complaining about your
I'm only complaining
duties.
because I just touched my knee in the wrong direction. So
Jesus fucking Christ, I gotta do fucking everything on this thing. Goddamn thing.
You're getting all the money from it. You're fucking. If I had your money, I'd burn mine. Shit.
If you had my money, you'd burn yours.
I'd burn mine.
I don't have any money.
Go shake the tree. Go shake the tree.
It's right there. My money tree is right there, and it's starting to die. Right there, that leaf is they're coming off.
I have my biggest festival of the year this weekend.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Josh's guy from the Food Truck Association. Thank you very much. I have had other people on. So fuck you.
Correct, but you can't get Patty Matters on.
When she's doing $100,000 in sales every month, her time's a little.
True. Her time's a little valuable.
Yeah. So she said they average 70 to 90 during the summer and 40 through the winter. If I could do 40 through the winter, I'd consider it.
I wonder if she has business partners.
No. She has a whole lot of staff.
Then that's fine. Yeah, I can understand that. The one thing I didn't ask Kurt was about the rules in South Carolina. Him cooking out of a trailer, like or setting up underneath the tent, whether he has to cook in a trailer or whether he has to use a commissary. I didn't ask him about that. It'd been good to know. Anyway.
All right.
Well,
let's wrap this.
I think we're over. We're out.
Let's wrap this thing up. I know I am back to a fairly regular scheduled week for roadside stuff and festival stuff. So it should be an interesting conversation next week, as Skippy has done nothing except for writhe around in pain.
I have a plan for this weekend. If it works, I have a plan.
Hopefully Skippy has hired somebody by then.
I'm not going to say I hired somebody. I have some helpers that are willing to help me. One of our guys, Chad. The problem is I can't drive, so I got to figure out how to take the trailer to where it needs to go. So I think the idea is to cook Thursday, have it ready for Friday. Yeah, I think that might be I might not make as much as I want, but we'll figure it out. Anyway,
all right, everybody. Have a good week. We will see you next week, Monday. Same food
channel,
truck
same
channel. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Make sure you follow us and like us everywhere. The TikTok, the Facebooks, the YouTubes, everywhere, please. Skippy's next guest, an orthopedic surgeon.
Listen, right. I would have dropped a phone call for that. Just
all right, everybody. Have a good week. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.